Hey everybody, just a really quick update here. It's Thursday, July 8th, which means that Unit 10 is due today, but Unit 10 was really just working on the draft of your final essay. So the only thing you're really turning in for this unit is a post to the My Topic discussion board. And as part of that, you're also responding to another person's post. Hopefully you read them all, you get a sense of kind of what people are writing about, what approach they're taking, what primary texts they're using. Maybe people will mention useful secondary sources. And also, you can talk about sort of the challenges that you're facing as you're writing this paper, whether it's been difficult to start or find sources. And ideally, of course, you may get a response where someone suggests something that really helps you get over that hurdle. And even if you don't, it's really interesting if someone expresses a similar kind of challenge or frustration that they're having. Just to see that and you're having the same kind of issue, it doesn't necessarily provide a solution, but it does make you feel better about the fact that you're not in this alone, and that the challenges you're facing are not just because you're doing something wrong, but because the assignment itself is challenging. So that can be a benefit too of reading through the My Topic discussion board. But otherwise, for Unit 10, you've really just been working on the paper, the outline. Hopefully you've been outlining almost not like finish the outline then do the paper, but they sort of go back and forth. Like I mentioned before, the outline can be really helpful, not just as a first step that you then forget about, but kind of as an ongoing thing that you update based on the paper, and that you almost could create after you've written the paper, just to see if everything is in place, right? Does the paper actually contain, in the right order, all the stuff that you wanted it to contain? So that can be useful as well. So we move into the final unit, which is Unit 11 for us. Pardon me. And it has a couple of due dates then. I've talked about this before. The first is basically peer editing. You're just exchanging your paper and trying to get some feedback, and of course providing feedback as well. The key here is to do this in advance, well enough in advance of the due date, such that you can incorporate feedback that you get before submitting your final paper, obviously. And the flip side is that you're giving feedback in a timely enough manner that someone can actually get it and use it in a realistic way, not just kind of race through and figure out and at the last minute kind of thing. And there's a pretty extensive kind of checklist here. You'd want to use this for your own paper, of course, basic questions about your thesis, your introduction, and so you can use this for your peers' paper as well, kind of giving feedback based on the various pretty specific categories that are provided here. A couple of sort of common essay problems to look for that often show up. One of the big ones that I'm going to draw people's attention to right here is this conversational phrases. They're sort of like I voice phrases. Anything that's a little too chatty, you want to just get rid of. It's unnecessary, and it kind of bogs down the energy of the paper, and that's the last thing you want. Introducing quotations is another big one, so you don't want a quotation to just sit as its own sentence. You want some sort of introductory phrase. And again, one that makes sense. So somebody is maybe arguing something, a character in the play is saying something, somebody writes, whatever. It doesn't need to be really fancy, just something to kind of get the flow of that from your sentence before into that quotation. A really simple one is a for example. Willie is a stubborn guy. That's your text. And then you want to provide a quotation. You don't just hang it in there. For example, then you can provide the example. It's so simple, but the effect it has in terms of the overall sort of style and flow of your paper is huge. So it really is funny that a competent paper that's getting a B, let's say, the difference between the B and the A in many ways is just those little tiny things throughout the paper that really help with being precise and concise, and the sort of overall flow of it, connecting the pieces in a way that helps the reader to see the logic of the paper. Anyway, after the peer review, again, a couple of discussion board things, but primarily you're just submitting that final essay. So we're getting right down to it. That final due date then, just to remind you, is Thursday, July 15th. So I cannot accept work beyond that date. So just be sure everything is into me at that point. And that's it. Obviously, be in touch if you have any questions as we get right down to the end of our course, and I'll talk to you soon.